chefs of Reddit, what are some obvious signs you'd pick up on that the average Joe wouldn't when you enter a restaurant that it's going to be low quality? If you know any plumbers who have restaurant clients, talk to them, they'll tell you exactly where you should avoid eating. This might sound random, but if there's a fish tank, take a look at it. If it's clean, you can bet the kitchen is too. Why? Because restaurants stay in shape by having thorough, daily cleaning routines. Fish tanks get dirty very quickly if they're not taken care of, just like kitchens. If the fish tank, which is not vital to the functioning of the restaurant, and also a pain for the employees to clean, is in good shape, it's a part of that routine, and you can bet that everything else is too. I used to work in a restaurant that had a rat problem. I never saw a rat, but the smell they created was something else. It was especially bad in the basement where we stored dry goods and paper products. Heavy sweet animal decay. It was less strong upstairs, but once I had smelled the basement it was easily recognizable everywhere. The smell is very unique, instantly recognizable, and it kills an appetite like nothing else. There have been several times that I have walked into a joint, recognized the smell, and walked right back out. Edited spelling. Not a chef. My sister is though, and I worked the dish pit as a teen. Hit the bathroom. If it's disgusting, and I mean dirty, not things like broken tiles, then don't expect a lot of hygiene in the kitchen either. Ex-chef. But really, the setting. I've found if a restaurant puts effort into the ambience, it's normally an extension of their food, not always, but it has been a pretty solid rule. Edit. Also the composure of the waitstaff. Do they look knackered? A bad sign. Are they gliding around with composed urgency but not haste? A good sign. Not a chef, but I eat out a lot. If you go to a hole-in-the-wall ethnic place and it's full of people of the appropriate ethnicity, it's probably gonna be legit. For example, local taco place nearby is where all the Mexican construction workers go for lunch. The food is the best, but it looks like a total hole in the wall. The smell is the first thing that comes to mind. Once you know what roaches smell like, it's pretty hard to get out of your head. Additionally, I'm super allergic to dust, mold and mildew, so I can tell pretty easily if the place isn't clean. Back of house for years but not a chef. A few things I look for. If a place is popular with service industry folks, it's a good sign. If they're younger patrons and they're friendly with the staff, that's a good indicator the place is popular with other folks in the industry. If the bartenders are pouring lots of Fernet, it's popular with service industry folks. I tend to look down on fusion places as jack of all trade, master of none. Everything might probably be passable at best. Oh really? You're serving sushi, Thai, Chinese, Korean, and pho? Get the fuck out of here. Toss in steak and burgers just to be safe. Huge menus, wobbly tables, shitty bathrooms, and no one greeting you at the door. That last one's pretty obvious and pretty key. It costs nothing to be acknowledged, and is a free and instant indication of everything else you're about to experience. You can also smell it. If you've been in the industry for a while, you can sense the state of the back of house when you walk in the door. Even in big restaurants and hotels, it permeates a long way. For average non-fancy dining, no chef's picks. House specialty section on the menu is a really good sign that you're about to drown in mediocre. If they're not proud of something, it's a bad sign. In fancy expensive settings, if all anyone can talk about is the view, then you might as well go to a diner. The food is gonna be bad. Exceedingly bad for what you're going to pay. Seriously, I've never worked nor eaten anywhere with a stunning view that didn't serve lukewarm garbage at a highway robbery price. A big menu with lots of variety probably means you're eating a glorified microwave dinner. A small menu where you see a few of the ingredients repeated across multiple dishes means that they're ordering fresh and put time and thought into the menu assembly. The food is probably going to be made with much higher quality ingredients with much more thought and effort put into its preparation. Old fryer grease smell. Some places, believe it or not, just keep adding more grease and rarely if ever dump it. You can smell that old oil smell. Once you've been around a fryer with old oil, you can always smell it. When I smell that at a place, I'll dodge fried foods. Huge menu, I'm sure has been said, unless you're talking Mexican or Chinese food. How well the outside of the place is kept clean as well as the inside. What does the place smell like when you first walk in? Perfume and cologne, bad air circulation, stale beer. Floors in the bar are dirty, which means people are tracking bathroom floor filth through the joint. Bleach. Good to go. Smells of good food. Rock the moon. Weed. Don't order anything complicated and you're good. For the new fancy restaurants that pop up every few years, cold plates. Maybe it's just coincidence, but every time I've gone to try a new restaurant that presents fine dining, when the plate is cold, the food also ends up pretty crappy, like it was made by someone who saw the recipe twice and is trying to remember it. Not a chef, but a construction worker. I've done renovations, improvements on 3 restaurants now, and every one of them has had rat shit in the ceiling. 2 weren't too bad, but the Jurassic Park restaurant in Universal Studios was so bad we had to suspend work for a week while a hazmat team cleared it out. I'll never eat at a theme park again. The smell in the dining room. If it smells bad at all, it's usually a sign they don't clean much or there's a pest problem. A restaurant should smell like whatever they serve. Obviously, dirty, old menus usually means they don't clean anything else very well. If the waitstaff don't look put together, the kitchen staff usually aren't too. I always take note of the brand, and does the venue live up to the brand promise? Am I paying for a $2.50 burger or a $600 bigo? Does the music, volume, table setting, uniforms, staff demeanor, etc. fit the brand? If there are white tablecloths and polished silverware on set tables for a $2.50 burger, something isn't right. On the flip side, if I'm paying $600 for a meal and efforts haven't been made to address acoustics in the room, then I know they have missed the mark. Quality and value are 2 different things that often get mixed up when it comes to hospitality. You get what you pay for, and if I didn't get what I paid for, then I will be reluctant to go back. My Italian grandpa, Charlie, was extremely picky about this. He married a Polish woman, too, and if you know anything about Polish people, is they are antiseptically clean. He would always tell my dad to look under the caps of ketchup bottles. Was there a shit ton of crust on the cap? Had they ever cleaned out the inside of the squirt bottle so a bunch of old ketchup didn't coagulate and dry near the spout? That would tell you if the restaurant really cared about cleanliness. Also, not from him but just from common sense, if there's a lot of dust, if the bathrooms don't look good, smell good, if the menus look like they haven't been taken care of, changed. I always look up. I used to be food safety for grocery chain. Check the condition of the ceiling. Is there dust, chipping paint, exposed ducts? Can you see any fans? What is their location and condition? Do the same in the bathroom. I guess that doesn't say anything about how good their food is but speaks to the extras that you will be consuming. Not a chef but worked in a restaurant when I was younger. If the table/seat/menu/etc. has that film on it where it was wiped down with old water, same goes for the floor. If I can feel my feet sliding on the tile, I know they mopped the front with the same water they just mopped up the back with, or they're using an old mop head that needs to be changed. Takes seconds and costs next to nothing to grab a new towel and get fresh water. I worked as a cook in a ton of places. If you walk in during a downtime and the crew is just sitting in the lobby chatting, I can almost guarantee that place is gonna be dirty as fuck in the kitchen. If you're doing your job right, you shouldn't have downtime like that. I had this discussion with a pal recently. My first go-tos are the cleanliness of the restroom entryway and servers' shirts. If these 2 are off, I am looking for further signs, such as Servers picking up used glassware from the top, unclean plates and glassware, or overcooked food. The first two may be a shift management issue, the second set is endemic of deeper issues. A lot of people are basing the bathrooms on the kitchen. Don't do that because it is the busboy that cleans the bathroom or maybe a wait staff, but the kitchen is off limits to everyone pretty much when it comes to cleaning or prep or anything of that type. So you can't compare the two. The chef and kitchen staff could be scumbags and the busboy could be cleaning the bathrooms just to kill time and hide. If it's empty, especially at times, it should be full. Lunch and dinner times, a large menu, dirt, grime. For example, if your menu is sticky, tattered, then I'd be concerned for the standards they use for cleaning standards. When you walk in, does it smell like food, or like a heavy-duty cleaner? If it smells like a strong cleaner, turn around and find somewhere else to dine. I was going to try a steakhouse new in town and walked in and could only smell pine sol, walked straight out. Sure, someone could have just yerfed all over the floor. I am not taking that chance. Also, if you can't smell the food cooking, they may be bringing cooked food in. Still not acceptable. As a chef, manager for close to 30 years, I look at the things you can see: dumpster, front door, door handles, general organization and cleanliness. If they let you see mess out front, you can only imagine what's going on where you can't see. I forgot about dining at the Cape Cod Room. This was a legendary restaurant in Chicago that closed in 2016. It was on the top floor of the Drake Hotel, but the view was inside. Everyone from Marilyn Monroe to Oprah, who had her own booth. I dined there twice. Both times the food and service were impeccable. There is a fish restaurant here in Kansas City with one location in Olathe and the other in Blue Springs. Both are suburbs, and it's odd, the one in Olathe is always good while the other in Blue Springs is hit or miss. I asked the owner and he says that they have different suppliers for each restaurant, and at the Olathe location he gets better staff. Is the table clean? Are the dishes cheap? If you can see the executive or sous chef, how do they look? How are they dressed? Is the plate hot? Is some food warm and some food hot? Order a random something off the cuff. If it comes out well, you're at a good restaurant. Sticky or dirty tables. Sticky or dirty menus. A dirty interior not to be confused with an outdated interior, and/or poor service. Being kept waiting for a long time to be seated, to be given menus, to order, or for the food to arrive. Sometimes delays happen and they are uncontrollable. It's in the best interest of the restaurant and staff to communicate this to the patrons as soon as possible. If they don't, I feel these are often a good indicator that the food will be disappointing. Dirty menus. Too big of a menu, bartender staring at their phone, owner drinking at the bar wearing a size too tight white dress shirt, while paying more attention to the TV than his business. Dirt in the corners. Dirty bathrooms. Staff that clearly don't give a shit. All signs of a place that's on its way out. Also, never eat the fish on the Sunday buffet. Look at the way they place cutlery and glasses. Prepped cutlery rolled in napkins shows they want you in and out as fast as possible and won't be high quality. If the place setting is properly aligned with the chair, it's a good place. Wonky place setting, they are trying to be good quality but falling short. How many of the starters are deep fried? But you might just like that kind of restaurant if the description on a bed of appears more than once on the mains. Ask your server for a key on arrival if they don't know what it is. They're not highly trained. Not a chef, but when I go to a sushi restaurant, the first thing I order is the uni, sea urchin. It's the ingredient that goes bad the fastest and the quality of the uni tells me everything I need to know. If it's me, I'll stick to safer choices. If the uni is good, then I feel more assured about the quality and the chefs and order some more deep cuts. If the uni is sus, I order the beef bowl. Lots of deals, huge menus, tired-looking staff, People rushing around when it's not busy, lots of menu items that are soups or dishes that you could hide poor quality ingredients in. If your fish smells fishy, that means it's fishy fish. Bigger beer selection than wine selection at restaurants that present themselves like wine restaurants. If you see staff eating the food, that's the biggest indicator it's a good restaurant. Not a chef, but 20+ years restaurant experience all over the place. I have found if the manager or owner comes around to check on people and seems genuinely happy to do it, you will always get a good meal. If the management is happy and engaging with customers, they are probably that way with their employees. Likewise, if you only see gruff and sad employees, expect lackluster management and few if anyone left to care in the building. If the establishment looks understaffed, I went to a semi-fancy restaurant prior to COVID and right away could tell they were short-staffed. Long line and no employee in sight, not even one around the tables. Anyone who has been to a restaurant before can tell you that wait staff will be everywhere, especially if it's a really good, popular place. One time the Orkin man showed up to my work, which will not be named, but I can tell you it's a bougie soup and sandwich chain. He opened the drain, looked down and called me over. He told me to look and I thought, big deal. There's black sludge in the drain of the bread place, probably rotting breadcrumbs. Then, he shined his flashlight on the sludge and it all began to move and squirm. It was a fruit fly infestation. Millions living in the drains below. We would get an order of bananas and by the end of the day they'd be ready for banana bread. Not a chef, but I once went to this steakhouse that was absolutely terrible. The entire place was dirty and blanketed in steam from the kitchen, and every couple of minutes there was an ear-splitting beeping sound coming from the fire alarms. The food was okay, but I would not go there again. I used to deliver hardwood lump charcoal to this Indian restaurant in a big town. Big trays of prepared food just sitting around, and Gramps sitting on a milk crate peeling 50 pounds of onions with about an inch-long ash hanging off of his cigarette. Dirtiest place I'd ever seen. I was a restaurant manager once, too. I cannot for the life of me understand how the health inspector never shut them down. Visit the bathrooms because if they're dirty, don't expect in kitchen and your food prob unsafe. If there's chicken everything in menu, the locals tell you avoid. You see 3 servers, no bartender. The servers are older than your moms, screaming in kitchen if is open. IOP, Denny's and Applebee's are examples. Open kitchen floor. PPL complaining about the wait as ex-restaurant employee and line cook can say, rarely eat out anymore and cook at home. Even slightly dirty menus or cutlery. If they can't keep what they show to the public clean, they aren't doing anything of note in the back. Also stay away from menus that have specialties from all over the world. If they have burgers, borscht and bolognese, they probably aren't making any of them well. The decorations. If they don't take the time to regularly clean or update their furniture to the type of restaurant it is standards, then why would they bother serving you with high-quality food? Quality food can't come out of Shrek's restaurants. I was an armored service technician for a few years. I can tell you every Chili's that I have been in between 3 states have the most disgusting kitchens I have ever seen in my life. They were all so bad I wouldn't feed it to my dog. Not a chef, but there's a popular Mexican restaurant here in town that everyone goes on about. I work right next door and a few years ago the city had to dig out this giant sewage box thing. Look, I'm not smart, from under the parking lot. Apparently the restaurant had been using cat litter to absorb all the grease and gunk from the floor and washing it down the drain. If you've ever poured cat litter, you'd know all that fine dust just floats around in the air. I haven't eaten there since. I work directly with restaurants. I have a I think the fuck not list that I share with friends. Everything is graded 1 to 10. 1 being the absolutely no fucking way. You'd be surprised at the amount of 2 or 3s we have. Indian and Chinese chefs in rural Australia. If it's a top-notch place, you can pretty safely assume they quality check their hires. A cheapo pub or takeaway joint, and you could be munching down on a bit of floor-fried steak or questionable chicken. Source: old head chef would drop shit and cook it clean by slapping it back on the grill.